Thanks for checking out this video. So if you aren't familiar with me, I've been doing some short non-alcoholic beer video reviews on YouTube for a little bit now. I had a stint where I was doing a craft beer podcast called Brutal Battle, and I was big into craft beer, so I know a lot about the industry, but I then had some health issues, gastrointestinal problems, and earlier this year, I just 100% gave up alcohol. But it's a good time because the craft beer non-alcoholic portion of the industry is actually doing quite well, and you're getting a lot better products than there have been in the past. So there was someone who had asked me recently, what are your favorite non-alcoholic beers right now? Because I have tried a decent amount, not like a ton, but a pretty decent amount. So I wanted to go over 8 beers that I happen to currently have in my possession right now, and I'll talk about a few other ones that I highly recommend to go through my favorites. So I'm going to start with light and then go to darker beers. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about each one. And hopefully this helps people. I wanted to do this because in addition to the person asking that question, I noticed that there really aren't a whole lot of people on YouTube reviewing non-alcoholic beer. So I just wanted to do another video like this, kind of giving out my highest recommendations for what I like, because some of those types of videos are kind of old, really outdated, and the industry's moving really fast with these types of beers. So here we go. Without further ado, sorry for talking for a while before getting to this. The first light beer, we're starting with light beers. I love this beer. This may be my favorite light beer, period, when it comes to non-alcoholics, and that is Best Day Brewing's Kolsch. This has actually made it on a bunch of lists online. It is so crisp. It is so clean. It's one of those non-alcoholic beers that you can say, would you know necessarily that this is not a regular beer? I don't think so. And Best Day Brewing's out of Wenatchee, Wisconsin, and Salt Lake City, Utah. So, Kolsch style, they say, but I love Kolsch's. I've always been a big Kolsch fan. There aren't a ton of non-alcoholic Kolsch's out there, but this one nails it. It is hands down, in my opinion, the best light tasting non-alcoholic beer out there. Although I know there are people who would, debate that, and that's fine because everyone's taste different. But Best Day Brewing's Kolsch, phenomenal. And then another light beer that I just tried recently that I love. This is by Deschutes Brewery. They're out of Bend, Oregon. And they did a phenomenal job with a collaboration they're doing with Patagonia Provisions. It's their Kernza Golden Brew. So this is a golden ale. There are a lot, I will say, of non-alcoholic golden ales out there. This one is one of the tops. And I think in general, Deschutes is doing a phenomenal job with their non-alcoholic program. There are breweries that are strictly non-alcoholic breweries, like Best Day Brewing. And then there are breweries that have been doing regular alcoholic beer for a long time, and that is Deschutes. And it's wonderful to see how great of a transition they've made to making some non-alcoholic beers, because theirs are top notch. There's another one that's going to be coming up, which I'm sure some people already know what it's going to be, but I haven't had any by them that I didn't think were bad, or that I didn't think weren't really good. Got to phrase that right. But I also haven't had them all. I still need to try the Fresh Squeezed, which I've heard is a great hoppy beer. But the Kernza Golden Brew is phenomenal. It has really good hop flavor to it, in addition to being really crisp and light and refreshing. And it literally tastes like a golden ale, just like a straight up regular beer golden ale. So Deschutes killing it. So still kind of light, and sorry, going back to Best Day Brewing, because I really do enjoy their stuff for the most part. And this is something unique, because as I've gotten into non-alcoholic beer, it's harder for me to find like really good beer with fruit added to it. And that's like between sours and what this beer is, which is a shandy. And I'm going back to Best Day Brewing. This is their Yuzu Ginger Shandy. Shandies, for people who aren't necessarily aware, are like usually a light beer, typically a lager, that then has actual juice just added to it. So it would be yuzu and ginger juice thrown in there. I really like yuzu. I think it's kind of like a soft citrus fruit. I really love ginger. I always love the kick that you get from it. But I would also say that if you're not a huge ginger fan, the ginger isn't super strong in this. The harmony in this beer is unbelievable. It's very light, crisp, and refreshing, but also having a really nice kind of like medium-low flavor of the perfect marriage between the yuzu and the ginger. It's the best of both of those ingredients coming through. This is a phenomenal beer, and I'm kind of using this in place of wanting a sour beer because there aren't a ton of really good non-alcoholic sours out there, in my opinion. Plus, I can't have a lot of like the really harsh citrus because of my GI issues. So like grapefruit sours and pineapple sours and stuff like that, I just can't do that because it causes me GI issues. So this is a very excellent beer. I just bought 3 more 6-packs recently of it to keep it in stock because it is limited. Yeah, Yuzu Ginger Shandy, phenomenal. So now crossing into hoppy beers, and it's light hoppy beers. So this is a hazy. And this one, a lot of people will be aware of because it's won an award. Now, there is a really good reason it's won an award. It is unbelievable. I typically have not liked hazy IPAs because they typically have wonderful noses and then not much flavor, actually. But this one is a big exception, especially for a non-alcoholic beer, because with the non-alcoholic hazies, typically you get not a whole lot of flavor, plus the mouthfeel is super thin. Now, the mouthfeel on this one is relatively thin, like a lot of non-alcoholic hazies, but the flavor is huge on this one, and that is the Disarm Hazy IPA by Go Brewing, and they're out of Naperville, I think, Illinois. Yeah, Naperville, Illinois. And they're killing it. They're kind of like, I think at this point, the second biggest non-alcoholic brewery out there behind Athletic. And Athletic does have some good stuff. I'll actually just throw out there that I think their Athletica, their Cerveza Athletica, is their best beer and is a phenomenal lighter beer. It's kind of like what I would think being a more malty Mexican lager. That one is very good, and I like that for something that's more widely available. So I'd throw out there. But anyway, getting back to this Go Brewing Disarm, it is unbelievable how much flavor there is in this for a hazy. It has so much. I mean, they even say crushed Sabro and Strata hops in this one, and it is just big, big flavor. It's like a fruit bowl, like drinking a hoppy fruit bowl with a good bitterness for being a hazy IPA in there. I keep going back to this one when I want something light but very hoppy. This is my go-to. Disarm is always in stock in my house, and love it. It's a great one. And actually, my short review that I put out for Disarm was commented on by Joe Chura, the founder of Go Brewing. So thank you very much for that, Joe. And this is actually a good time for me to transition to saying that since I'm at the halfway point, if there's any breweries that see this video and are interested in having me do reviews of your stuff, I'm open to that. You can email me. Email is tied to my account, or you can just comment on the video too, and I can, contact you guys. But you do have to know that I'm going to be 100% honest with what I think. I think that's the most important thing. But anyway, moving on. Now we're going to a little more serious hoppy beers, and that is going to go to another award-winning beer. And this one is by Groovy. They are out of Denver, Colorado. And this is their Juicy Days IPA. If you want a really good, with really nice body, West Coast style IPA that has a good bitterness to it and has a nice kind of mix of like citrus and pine flavor, Groovy's Juicy Days IPA is really up there. I love a good West Coast style IPA. That's why I try and have this one in stock in my house all the time. So, this is when I'm feeling like light body and a lot of flavor. This is when I'm feeling more serious body with more bitterness and a lot of flavor. So, yeah, the Groovy Juicy Days IPA, love this beer. Easy to see why it won an award. Then the last of the hoppy beers that I'm going with, I'm sorry, I'm going back to Best Day Brewing. I really do like what Best Day has been doing. I will say I have not had a single beer from them that I didn't like. All of them I thought have been quite good to really good. So Best Day Brewing's Galaxy Ripple Imperial IPA. It is hard to find a very good non-alcoholic Imperial IPA because, like I said before, a lot of non-alcoholic beers have a lot thinner mouthfeels. But there are some exceptions. This Galaxy Ripple being one of them. They did a really good job getting a really nice serious body to it. It's a little bit syrupy. I get a ton of pineapple type flavor from the hops out of this beer, and it's phenomenal. It's a little bit resiny as well. Like, this makes me think of old school West Coast style Imperial IPAs from when I was drinking regular beer. And that's the reason I love this. This is one of the ones where you're like, I want something thick. I want something I almost have to chew, and it has a nice bitterness and a lot of flavor. Love this beer, Galaxy Ripple. It's not always available. That's another problem with some of these beers, but Best Day, you've already been in here 3 times. I promise I'm done with the Best Day. I only have 2 more beers left, and Best Day's done. And then at the end, after I do these last 2, I'll talk about a few other breweries that I highly recommend, but I just don't have their beer right now, but will be ordering at some point. All right, so the next one is getting to the more malty side of things, and this one is another one that's pretty limited. Going back to Go Brewing, it's a damn good Oktoberfest. Plus, shout out to their can art. Like, they do the best with can art when it comes to non-alcoholic beers, hands down. Athletic Brewing needs to take a cue from what Go Brewing is doing, because Athletic's can art is terrible. And I guarantee that because of that, you're having a lot of people who are not grabbing their stuff off the shelf, so they need to get on that. But Go Brewing knows how to market. But this damn good Oktoberfest, it is they say authentic German style Oktoberfest. It is in the Märzen style. So if people don't know that, it's very light and crisp and lagery, but it's a lot more darker malt notes. It's very roasty. It has a lot of kind of honey to it, a little bit of like a caramel going on in there. And I don't know why, but this beer has a really big creaminess to the mouthfeel, which I think sets it above all the other beers like this as far as non-alcoholic go. I love the creaminess to it, and I actually will say they put out a Bad Tiger, which was like, they say like a honey kolsch, and that has the same creaminess in it, which I really appreciate. It's not one of my favorite light beers, but it is a good beer, and if you like this, end up liking this if you can get your hands on it, and you want something lighter, their Bad Tiger would be that, but I don't know when they're going to redo it because it's out at this point. But damn good Oktoberfest. I've ordered so much of this. My wife loves it too, and she drinks regular beer as well, but this is one of her go-tos as well. Unbelievable. So yeah, and then getting to the last beer, going to the dark stuff. And I will say before I reveal this one, for people who like Guinness, like regular Guinness makes a non-alcoholic version of their regular like Irish stout, and it tastes almost exactly like the real thing, like their regular beer. So if you like that, that is a phenomenal choice for you. So my favorite dark beer, and my wife's, she always has to have this available in the house. Going back to Deschutes from Bend, Oregon, this is their Black Butte. So they do make a Black Butte that is just a regular beer with alcohol, and then they started making a non-alcoholic version of Black Butte. And again, much like what I was talking about with Guinness, it tastes almost exactly like the regular beer. It's a bit thinner in the mouthfeel, but you have to remember this is a porter, not a stout, so it's not going to be like thicker in the mouthfeel anyway. But wonderful dark notes, very chocolatey, very roasty, phenomenal. This is another one of those beers that you could just put in front of someone and fool them into thinking they're drinking a beer that is not non-alcoholic. So, yeah, then that's my last recommendation of what I have currently. And then the last thing I want to talk about is just two other breweries that I highly recommend, but I don't have any beer from them. One is Mash Gang. And they have, the things I love from them, they have a really great, like, Mexican lager called Glug. And then they have a really good hazy IPA that's really light but big in flavor, kind of like the Disarm. Not as good as Disarm, but not super far off, and that's called Chug. So you can check them out, and they do 16-ounce cans, not for everything, like Glug's a 12, but everything else I think is a 16. But those are really good beers. And then the other brewery I really like is Momentum Brewery, and they have everything I've tried from them is super good. Like, they all have a really nice hopping, whether it's like a pale ale that they're doing or it's a Kolsch or whatever. And then they have a black IPA. So if you're into that type of stuff, their black IPA is phenomenal. It's the perfect marriage of like a stout and a really nice hoppy IPA. And it's beautiful. So I highly recommend those. So that's it. That's all I have to say about these beers. Hopefully this helped people out. If go ahead and put some comments down and let me know maybe what you've been drinking, what you highly recommend, and was this helpful. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe to my channel, thumbs up on the video, notification bell button, all that stuff. I also have memberships to the channel with perks. You can look at that in the description. There's a link. But thank you so much for your time, and until next time, keep it brutal.